This is the first time I've ever spoke about this in a pub. Men don't like talking about this.
We like to talk about football, and we like to talk about what's on the telly and all of that sort of good stuff, but when it comes to showing our emotions and our weaknesses, I think we struggle, don't we? I personally find that a challenge, to talk about my emotions.
When your mum got your diagnosis, how did that affect you, and how did that make you feel?
I didn't have a clue what it was. I just thought it was, oh, she's getting old and forgetful. So it was just about trying to find information and understand, what does this word mean? What does dementia mean to us? One of the lifelines we got was an animal nurse from Dementia UK, and that interacting with that group of people, that gave us, it took us out of free fall. It didn't put us on a straight road, but it put us on more of a pathway towards where we need to go to.
My daughter denied it at first. She wouldn't talk about it. My son never mentioned the word. They didn't mention the word, and no one spoke openly about it.
I was still fighting against it, but I started to accept it. And then my dad and my sister, they fought against it. So they wouldn't use the word. They wouldn't say the dementia word, the D word.
There's a lot of fear in dementia, and you'll have felt it as soon as you heard the word. You'll have felt fear. You fear for the worst.
As men, we're fearful of being fearful, in my opinion. So if we don't know about something, it frightens us. It's like, oh, hang on, what do we do? So if something frightens us, we ignore it.
That's the trouble. How do you start a conversation about dementia?
Have you found that you living dementia has changed your relationships with your friends and your family and so on?
I mean, I've still got my friends at the golf, which is still the same, but I had some friends that I used to go out with, which they started going initially, and because I didn't go out with at the start, and when they found out I had dementia, they didn't bother.
Okay.
But I've got a friend who's the same age as me, and he's got Alzheimer's, and he's the same stage as me as well, and he's a musician.
Oh, brilliant.
So we've recorded some songs in the studio. I find that music is one of the greatest therapies.
So I've seen my mum just embrace music. It's always helped her through, almost like a medicine, if you like it, I suppose, is a way to describe it.
Dementia is a savage beast. It's a rage that's inside you, and you're trying to suppress it all the time. And music fights it. It makes it go to sleep.
So through your diagnosis, you met your musician friend, but you've also seen, unfortunately, other friends.
Yeah. And some people were closer, but the friends up at the golf, they never mentioned the word dementia. They never mentioned it once. You know, they'll talk about football, drink, golf.
Yeah, but not dementia.
They'll never mention it once. They won't even say, how's your dementia?
I suppose if your mates at the golf just one day just asked how are you and just listened, then what I'm hearing is that might actually help you, or will help you massively, because there's someone there you can turn around and say, well, I'm really good today, lads, or actually I'm not too good today. Can we?
I always say, you got to think of it as a battery. If you have a torch, you need a negative and a positive end. Put the battery in, and for the torch to shine brightly. If it's all positive, it's not going to work.
Not going to work.
If it's all negative, it's not going to work. So
Absolutely.
You're going to have negative days, you're going to have positive days.
Yeah.
And you've just got to know when the switch is off. And I find that people with dementia tend to have more of a sense of humour, even if they haven't used it before.
Yep.
Have you found that with your mum?
It's almost like dementia, going back to the torch analogy you mentioned, flick this like comedy switch on at one point in time, and she just start telling these jokes that you're like, where's that come from? Yeah. And you shouldn't laugh at some of the things she was saying. But I think if you didn't laugh, it's that classic saying, you're going to cry. And that really helped us to balance, especially as a family. We was like, well, let's not focus much on the negative, going back to the battery. Let's focus on the positive coming out of it.
What you've got to realise is that people with dementia still have a sense of humour.
Absolutely.
We want to laugh with us. Don't laugh at us. You know, sounds we're not the butt of the joke.
Yep.
We're all right, you know. And
how do you find society, or in general, treats you?
Some people treat you as if you're stupid, you know. I mean, as if, you know, I can't work things out, I can't fathom things out.
As soon as you have dementia, that's it. It's all, everything's game over, it's all finished. You don't have the ability to reason and have a conversation with somebody. From a caring perspective, when you take mum to like an appointment or something, let's take a medical appointment, the doctor would talk through me or through whoever took it rather than talking directly to my mum. And it was always, well, she's still sat there. But I always found that quite upsetting that they wouldn't talk to my mum and they'd talk to the person who'd taken her with her.
Did I ever tell you about the time I got on the bus?
No, I don't think so.
I got on the bus, I sat on one of the disabled seats.
Oh, okay.
You know, got a disabled pass, you know, and there was a young fella and a girl sitting on the long seats. And the fella said, excuse me, mate, So I said, what? He said, you can't sit there. I said, why not? He said, they're for disabled people. I said, I am disabled. He said, you don't look disabled. I said, you don't look stupid.
There's no label, there's no badge that says this person's living with dementia, so yeah.
No, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about something that might seem strange to you, but do you grieve during dementia? So
it was only when I started to realise like the physical grief through my dad dying that yeah, I'd been grieving for my mum for quite a long time, and I still do today, if I'm honest with you. She's still here, and I hate to say it that I grieve, but I do grieve that old mum, if you like, the mum prior to dementia. Does that resonate with you, Tommy? Or
I grieve for a lot of things. I grieve for what I've robbed my wife of. I feel as if I've robbed her of her independence. Yeah. I grieve that I'm not the husband that I should be, I want to be. I grieve for the love that I don't show. I grieve for the person I was. I really miss the person I was. You know, it seems strange. I grieve for taking away the lovely house we had, that I had to lose my job, that I had to lose the house we'd worked all our lives for. It's a different grief than a death, because you get over that, time's going to heal it. But you know, this isn't going to heal until I go.
There's no doubt my dad died of a broken heart, and then he spent 4 years of that journey just grieving for her, missing her. He couldn't handle the fact that he was grieving. He couldn't process it. He couldn't understand, because my mum was still around.
Do you have those feelings about feeling guilty about, are you doing enough or anything?
I felt guilty that I couldn't give my dad the magic tablet that was going to fix dementia. So guilt, it's there all the time. Yeah, it's almost like a shadow that you're trying to run away from.
It's something I feel every day, most probably every minute of every day. It's the guilt of what I've taken away from my family, of what I've taken away from my son, my daughter, my grandchild, my wife.
If we can talk about it though, maybe that helps with the guilt, that helps with the grieving. If we can battle that shadow, the shadow of guilt, that way I describe it, then I think that's another team sport, again, going along that path of, you can't burden that guilt on your own, you can't burden the grief on your own.
Don't try and go through dementia on your own, because it'll take you down straight away.
Yes.
And the more you've got around you, the better, the more help and support you've got, the much better.
What's your hopes for the future?
And I know I won't live long enough to see a world without dementia, but I hope to live to see one that accepts it. You know, and I want to give people hope, and I'm hoping that people are given hope.
I think from my perspective, my hope is that people talk about dementia, that they recognise the fact that it's there, but that has to start with a conversation. Hope springs eternal as well, I think is...
Hope springs eternal. It's a lovely saying, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When Pandora's box was opened and all the ills of the world came out, the one thing that was left in the box is hope.
Absolutely.
And that's what dementia is. Hope's still there.
Yeah. Tommy, we've got 15 minutes. Now, I know when your wallet normally opens, moths and bats normally come out, so this round's on me to start with.
What's a wallet?
Well, there we go. Absolutely.